I'm sure everyone watching would agree the restoration industry is complex, challenging, always evolving, and at times so frustrating that business owners wonder what they can do to compete and to increase profitability. In this episode of Straight Talk, I welcome our guest today, someone who's a true industry expert that has solutions that you need to deal with ongoing challenges, but also to take your company to the next level. And with me is Luke Hansen, the founder and CEO of CompanyCam. Luke, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm envious of your microphone. I'm going to go on record right there. So I'll have to get one of those myself. How are things in Nebraska?
Yeah, they're great. I'll tell you, well, it's a little foggy. There was a fog warning today. So it's cold. It's a little foggy. One of my kids has the flu. But other than that, things are going really well. And we're glad to be here.
Good deal. Well, in Columbus, Ohio, it's foggy and cold. Let's talk about the topic today. CompanyCam, it looks like a very interesting organization. And I understand that CompanyCam evolved from the industry. Why don't you spend a minute or two telling us your story?
All right, you're gonna have to hold me to that minute or two. So my dad owns a roofing company here in Nebraska, in Lincoln. They have a couple offices now, but I grew up cleaning up job sites and graduated to nailing down the shingles, and over time basically have done almost every job you can do at a local contracting business. And it was maybe 2014. We were trying to take more and more photos. Everyone in restoration knows why you're taking photos. You want to know what it was like before. You may have to prove something to the insurance company. You want to maybe use these before and afters for your marketing. You want to talk to a crew, make sure everyone's on the same page. We were trying to do all of this stuff and making that simple for everyone and easy so that we could have it organized, so we could find it all was hard, especially at that time. There just wasn't. I was Googling, looking, I'm like, we need some solution here. I couldn't find anything. And I think I have just enough arrogance or something. I was like, we should do this. We use apps, we could make one. It's kind of famous last words because it's always harder than you think. But that's really how it started, was saying, okay, we have this problem where we got all these people out and going to all these different projects, and we need to capture the information there. We need it to be organized that in a way that doesn't require people to remember to upload it at the end of the day, to pick the right spot to put it. So with CompanyCam, it kind of all runs on GPS, your location. So it's like, oh, it looks like you're at this job. Yep. You take all the pictures, videos, everything, and then it's all auto organized in that area. And that was the whole initial problem. I mean, it's matured a lot from there, but that's the problem I was looking at and thought we have to do something about this.
Let's talk about others and what they deal with. We know that we're facing economic downturns. The prices of materials to do the work that those watching are using, they're going up. Insurance processes are not friendly. What can you do to help with that, Luke?
So CompanyCam is all about the kind of daily operation of running a contracting business. We have a ton of customers in restoration, a ton in roofing, exteriors, painting. I mean, it really across all of these trades, but you share this problem of your work does not happen at the office. It's at some site somewhere, and you need to know what's going on. You need to communicate effectively. You need to do accountability, and then you need to not just communicate internally, which is kind of what I was alluding to, but communicate externally to the insurance company, to the customer, across the board. And what CompanyCam does is it allows you to manage that daily operation where everything's happening, where you know what's going on and you can make better decisions. So normally when you're out, maybe you're taking photos at a job or you have a crew out there, the communication happens when there's a problem, or you may need to look for something from that job. You're clicking through folders. CompanyCam, what it's going to allow, or what it does allow our restoration companies to do, is you get this feed of everything that's happening as it's happening, so that you're seeing it in real time. Every time that person takes a picture on the job, it goes into this unified timeline of everything that anyone from your company has captured on this site. So you have that whole story saved. And not only do you have that to reference, but you can just see it happening. And the amount of times you like run into an issue, or you see a problem because you really are the expert that they on site may not quite realize is a problem, the kind of materializing. It's this efficiency of operation and the ability to scale your operation without having to drive around to more sites, having to hire a bunch more people to manage everything. I mean, it really just frees up people's time because everyone knows more and you're doing that communication and accountability better. So as far as like the entire market, I think restoration is in a better spot than a lot of industries, because it's not so much of a luxury purchase. It's like, we have water damage, we have fire, we have hail, all the things that can result in you needing to get the work done. It's connected to insurance. That's what I think is good about it. So it's going to just move. And I'm not a macroeconomist, but it's going to move almost below the market on both sides. Meaning, if the market goes way up, it's going to go up, but maybe not quite as high. And if the market goes way down, it's going to go down, but it's not going to go as much as the market, which to me is a good place to be because there's more reliability there. The last point I want to address is, you had mentioned the insurance company, kind of the difficulty of dealing with insurance companies. I haven't had to personally do that for quite a while, but it was a pain 7-8 years ago when I was doing that. And I think I don't think it's getting any better. And what we're trying to do here at CompanyCam is to help you capture the facts on the ground and then communicate them inside and outside your organization. And so that, like, in a sense, holding the truth. This is what the state of it was. This is what it looks like. This is the problem. This is broken. You can see it. We can prove it because these are all GPS tagged. When they were taken, like, provably. And here you go, Mr. Adjuster. This is all the facts. That is going to help you seriously in any sort of dispute or disagreement with the insurance company. It's just having in a sense, the facts on your side, not only just having facts, but having a lot of them. And I try to tell people, like, people will say, how many photos should we take? A question like that. And I'm usually saying, more than you think that you need, because you can't anticipate everything that's going to come up later. And so we're trying to say, hey, if we can make it so easy for you and so quick to take these photos, and they're not going to be taking up space on your phone. Hey, we're trying to take every barrier out of your way. You just go out, document everything. Then you may not need half of it, a third of it. You may not need that later, but if you do need it, you'll be a lot more frustrated that you didn't take the extra 1 to 5 minutes to just get more. And so that, I hope I touched on the different pieces there, but there's a lot of ways that CompanyCam can help, but it definitely is not like a silver bullet. Your ability to manage and run your business is going to remain important.
Yeah, you've answered my question. Great details. I was going to talk about how important it is to a company to have documentation. I think you covered that. You started out earlier talking about pictures we have to take, but so much more than just pictures. Obviously, it's the whole process, everything you would need to justify what you do and to get paid from those troublesome insurance companies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Luke, there's a lot of software companies out there. Tell me why CompanyCam is different. What makes you stand out?
So it sort of depends on who you're comparing us to. One thing is, we really like what we're doing. A lot of places I don't like, they have a hard time retaining people. People don't really want to work there. So just for starters, as a company, like, we like it here, and we care about, like, making a really great product. And I tell our team all the time, hey, look, we could be smarter in sales and marketing. We could do a lot of things you can do better. But if you make the best product, you will always succeed to some degree. someone else might come along and not make, they may figure out how to make more money than you or something like that. But from our side, it's about trying to do this capture and communication accountability thing, do it the best, to be the best people in the market at doing that. Now, in order to do that, it has to be incredibly simple to use so that there's no excuse for anyone not using it. If anyone's trying to get their people to take photos or to document or to do a little bit of work that's sort of outside of, just doing the work that needs to be done on the property, it can be like pulling teeth. And so we are, I think, different than most of the software in this industry. Like, I have been described as being maniacal about the user experience. Like, it has to be simple. If it frustrates people, if it adds time to their day, they're not doing it. Like, and so we are going to be sort of relentlessly focused on that simple, powerful, should be enjoyable to use. And then the last thing I would say is we run a very open system, meaning we know that you have to use other tools at different times. And we're not trying to hold your data hostage or your photos, your videos. We have this new cool video walkthrough thing, but anything that you capture in CompanyCam, you can tie it up to other software. You can connect it to Zapier and have it fire around and do things, because our premise is it's your information. And we want to make the process of capturing it and using it to communicate, we want to try to make that seamless and valuable to you. But we know we're not trying to do everything. I'm mini rant here. I really don't like things that try to do everything, because you just can't do everything well. And even if you're the super genius, you just run out of space to do everything really well. And so our thinking is, look, if we can do this the best, this is an important problem shared by across the kind of almost all these trades. And for restoration or anywhere where there's insurance, it's sort of especially important that you have that hard data. But if we can do this the best, and then we can allow people to connect it up where they want, we build integrations, then we're not leaving a lot of room for a competitor to come in and attack us, because we're overwhelmingly focused on serving the customer rather than like letting there's these short-term business opportunities that you should be thinking long-term, but you can find yourself thinking, oh, we can make an extra buck tomorrow if we did this. And we're trying to guard against that and say, no, like, if people use CompanyCam and they like it, they will be our customer for a long time. It'll be great for them. It'll be great for us. And we don't want to lock them in. I mean, if you want to cancel your account, it's just like cancel. We're trying to do these things the right way, believing that in the long run, they will all pay off. And so far they have.
All right. Luke, I have to say, whenever I talk to someone and they go on a mini rant like you just did, it tells me one thing. It tells me you believe it. You're a believer.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I can sense it.
Good.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope, I don't want to come on here and just do an entire sales pitch the whole time, but I really do care about this.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, restoration companies need help. They want to get through the process. They want their work to be easier. And you're exactly right. If it's a lot of work to do, they're not going to do it. So, and I was on your website and I saw the integration opportunities. So I think you got it covered there. In fact, your website address, I'll put down below in the video description so people can click right through and see for themselves what you offer there. So no, good stuff, good information. But you know what? Here's something I would think of if I'm watching this and I'm a small company, couple trucks, maybe just a few employees. Is your program for larger companies, smaller companies, or what? Tell us about that.
That's a great question. So we would say we focus on small to medium-sized businesses. We have some customers that are really big, but our average customer has like 3 users on their account.
Okay.
So if you take the middle company, they got 3 people. So, and we have tons of companies that have 1 person, but then, so it does span across the board. I would say when we built it, we were building it specifically for my family's roofing company at that time. And which was about, I think we had 30 to 50 people using it at that time. So we created some things like where you could kind of group people together in divisions, and there's some opportunity there for organization that you don't really need if you have 3 people. That being said, it is an incredible tool when you're smaller and what you care about is the simplicity and the kind of power of information, the fact that you can have all the information. It allows you to manage a lot more. So I think that's why it's so popular with these smaller companies. And so, yes, you can use it with smaller companies, but that sweet spot for us, we would say, is the kind of under 300 people. If you get over 300 people, like what just isn't built for that. And that's 300 people kind of like at one location, which is very abnormal if you're doing any sort of restoration or, like it's overwhelmingly smaller businesses. And the nice thing is, sorry, add a caveat here. Like when I think of restoration, I think of kind of like a mini GC that's also an insurance expert. That's what I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's how I think of it. And you're often you have your own operation, but then you have other trades that you're collaborating with. You may need carpet people to come in and drywall. You're running this project that has more trades than usually than just your restoration outfit. And so we have this ability to collaborate on projects where you can invite other companies into the project and kind of get not just your employees, but everyone who you have working on the project, kind of get it all synced in together. And we found that in restoration, that's especially powerful just because of the nature of that. But yeah, I would say if you're anywhere under that 300 user mark, you would be in good company in CompanyCam. And if you would have 3 people exactly, then you're right down the middle of our average customer.
All right. Well, good to hear. I have to say that when I was in business, I was before software became a thing. So I'm dating myself here.
Yeah.
I have to think that proof of work is important. An adjuster may say, you didn't do this, or can you tell us you did this for sure? Talk about that. How does this help with proof of work?
Oh, well, I mean, it acts as your company's visual memory. And it's not just that you can see everything, because this is so much easier when you can look through a timeline. Oh, this day, all down through a project that could span years. Sometimes you go back years later and then you see what you did before. Having that ability to remember, but then coupling it with all the data that's connected to it, the GPS coordinates, the time it was uploaded to our system. There's all this, what amounts to kind of like tamper-proof stuff that can be referenced, where if you just send them a photo from your phone, there can be a question of like, oh, did they change something? Relatively sophisticated, but having those facts can save you a boatload of trouble. I might specifically remember this was a few years ago when we were starting, but my family's roofing company roofed a big building down at the university. It was one of these flat roofs. I think it was a physics building. And at one point they were done. It was a little while after that there was massive leak and it ruined a bunch of expensive equipment. And they were going to make them go over there and, tear it all off and replace it. It was going to become a legal matter. And they kept going through the photos on CompanyCam. Nope, you can see we did this properly, this. And they, rather than having to go over there and spend a week digging around, cutting up parts of it, they were able to prove their case almost just completely with photos. And it was discovered that there was an HVAC unit that got installed improperly and was just like funneling water in there. But it's those kind of things where if you don't have the evidence on your side, you're going to go do a bunch of extra work. You may still be exonerated, or sometimes it just is your fault, sometimes you do damage someone's driveway or crack a gutter. And half the time, just knowing that right away, oh, it wasn't cracked, now it is, probably was us, we'll take care of that, we're not going to bicker about it. That knowing is a relief even when you're wrong, but when you're right, it's especially a relief, because then you're not spending all the extra time and money and headache of trying to deal with this stuff. And when it comes to the insurance company, if you don't prove it, they're almost certainly going to say, like, it's on you to prove it. It's not on them to prove it.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's talk about what you do with all this information. We've covered a little bit of this, and the integrations I imagine that are listed on your website, the different platforms you integrate with help with that. But get into a few more details about sharing documentation, invoicing, sending that to the insurance company, making sure it gets from you to them, and it's there, and everyone wins with the whole process.
So there's a lot of ways. We allow you to create these PDF photo reports that you can template out, so you can go the easy way to share and to show the state before, during, after. Just an easy way to share. You can share branded galleries of photos and videos that it's really frustrating when you're trying to upload photos into an email or something and you hit some random limit, like, oh, you have
30
more
megabytes
than X amount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's frustrating. So CompanyCam allows it to be sent just with a link, and it'll load up this beautiful gallery with your company's logo on it. And then it gives them the opportunity to download the photos from there, so they can still have the files if they need them. But there's a lot of ways to share. And we have these sort of checklists, standard checklists that you can build that are kind of repeatable, where the only way to check it off is with a photo to prove that it's done, in a sense. There's a lot of ways to share, and that's what we are always trying to build. What are generally useful tools that you can apply specifically to what you're doing. And so, like, the building of a PDF photo report, the sharing of a gallery. We have this cool before and after camera where it lines up the before photo perfectly for you, so that you can kind of see through it and line up the after photo, and then it lays them out for you. We're trying to say, how can we help you take what you have, which is documentation, and make it more valuable? Now, you can save all sorts of things like quotes. You can save all sorts of files in CompanyCam. We don't really, CompanyCam is not a tool for making quotes, but you can save it in CompanyCam, and we're actually adding a document signing capability early next year. Like, we're hoping to launch January, February. And so we want CompanyCam to be that shared place of truth, so that when you look in there, you can see what documents are here, what checklists have we completed. You can see all the photos, all the videos in this timeline that kind of paints a picture of the project. And then it's like, that's great for internally. That's where we started. That's the most important. But being able to share that externally, like I should have mentioned, you can even share that timeline. So the link with the customer, where they can they can see the photos then as they're being taken. It kind of really makes them feel like they're being communicated with very transparently. And we've had some customers win big projects that, because they had promised, hey, we're going to give you this link, and it will update every time we're taking photos on site. So you're seeing them when we're seeing them. And, it's kind of one of those, this is how we operate. So, hey, sorry, that was a long sales pitch again. Covered a lot of territory, but hopefully answered the question.
You did. I loved your statement, shared place of truth. That's, I mean, that's the resource you need to prove everything you've done and to get paid and deal with all the challenges. All right. I have one final question. It's kind of like how to set up a contractor to succeed. Can you speak to that? And also, what if someone wants to see this in action? Because right now we're just two guys talking. How can they see this in action?
So I'll get to that first. If you just search CompanyCam, you can go, our website, you can download it from the App Store and try it out. We do a 2-week free trial. And you're not going to lose anything you put in there. So you can always, you get 2 weeks of like the pro features, and then otherwise you have like a free version that's kind of just for individuals. So that's why I'd say, just go check it out. You don't lose anything by doing that. And you may see, we just hear all the time, oh, change my business, or it's a game change, these type of things. And, people know when they're kind of disorganized, and they're like, oh, I should get organized. What people I think are really surprised about when they use CompanyCam is how powerful that seeing things when it happens, just like seeing it all come in and delivered to a feed so that you can scroll down and be like, oh, look, we're, this is where this is at. That knowing more is what like really sticks for people. Now, your question was about setting up a business to succeed. For you to succeed using CompanyCam is you have to commit to trying it with some, like the magic moment for people is when they're holding our app or they're looking at it because it's a website and it also runs, as an app. And they are all of a sudden seeing what's going on and what the state of things is at all these projects that they have going, and they're not there. And they didn't have to ask anyone. They didn't have to text and get an update. It's just sort of rolling in, and they're like, oh, wow, that's really handy. They're answering questions that they may have had. So once you get a couple people trying it and setting up a simple system, like, hey, take a photo when you get there, take a photo before you go to lunch, take a photo before you leave, and then anything unexpected that comes up that you think we might need later, take a photo of it. Just the idea of for your crew on site or whoever you need using it. If they are people that already take a lot of photos as part of the job, like if they're kind of the initial inspector on one of these, they're just going to take, you don't need to probably tell them what photos to take. They already know. The rest of the people, if you can give them simple instructions, that simple instructions are easy to follow. So keep it simple at the beginning. And then as you get into it a little bit, building these checklists becomes really powerful. So making a checklist of processes that you want to be followed, or where you don't want things to be forgotten, those are really powerful. So it's a really easy to check things off and by taking a photo and saying, yep, we got that done. And then things don't get forgotten. And that kind of peace of mind, like I've forgotten enough things myself, had other people forget enough things that I need a checklist for things that I already know how to do. And knowing that I can look at this checklist, that they're going to see it, they're going to see everything on it, and that they can't just check it off saying, yeah, it's good. They have to take a picture to prove kind of what was there. Okay, I can feel confident that this is going to go the way I want it to, or that at least we're not going to forget something obvious. Like if we're going to have a problem, let's have a new interesting problem rather than a problem that we've had over and over because you just forget things. So sorry, that was another long-winded rant, but you gave me permission. But yeah, it boils down to check it out, try it. If it's not for you, you can go back to snapping pictures on your phone.
I have a feeling those that try it out won't do that. They'll probably stick with you, but what a great opportunity you said a 2-week trial, try it out. You can cancel anytime. So, well, Luke, I think we covered a lot of ground. I loved your rants. We'll keep them. And hopefully people will join your company and try it out.